Our next feature presenter is Christian Gomez. Christian is a midfielder. I think we're back with the PowerPoint too, which is great. Christian is a senior midfielder on the men's soccer team and a global studies major. In addition to performing at a high level in the classroom and on the field, Christian has also served as a research assistant, peer advisor, and has volunteered with organizations that he is passionate about, including the disaster and humanitarian relief projects. The person who nominated Christian wrote this about him. Christian challenges his peers to view obstacles as opportunities for growth and to embrace a mindset of thinking outside of the box during their Cal journey. Christian is an incredibly gifted individual who plays an instrumental role as a peer advisor for the Scholar Athlete First Year Transition course and the Sophomore Major Exploration Discovery courses. He has empowered students to gain a better understanding of self-efficacy within diverse settings, provided them with clear incentives for setting meaningful goals via campus resources, and encouraged them to pursue authentic leadership opportunities. Please give a warm welcome to our next featured speaker, Christian Gomez.
All right, can you guys hear me? Good? All right. Well, first off, I want to just say I know Ezene stepped out of the room, but she did an amazing job. She really set the standard, so I hope I can carry that. I'd also just like to thank the Cameron Institute for hosting this showcase. They do a tremendous job supporting student athletes and providing them opportunities beyond their athletic space like this today. It's an honor to be here, to be recognized by my peers and by faculty. And I'm excited for you guys to hear what the rest of my four fellow Bears have to share. Okay, so to start off, I want to share these two pictures with you. You might wonder, what do these pictures have to do with leadership? Well, the first picture is me. I think I was like 8 or 9 years old. I was the smallest guy on the field, and I wasn't the strongest. But the one thing for sure was I had the most hair on the field. You look at the second picture, it's a picture of me from just a few months ago. I'd like to think that my endurance, my strength, and my overall physical presence on the field had improved. Obviously, puberty had played a big part in that, but I think there was more that I believe I did more to help me become the D1 athlete that I am today. I think I did more to stand here today. With that being said, I share that because just like yourself, you're always growing, figuratively and like literally. So the one thing I hope that you can take away from this today is that leadership's an ongoing process. When I was thinking about leadership, I was thinking of how can this resonate with everyone? How does this resonate with myself? And I realized the answer is in front of me. You and I have one thing in common, and that's we're a competitor. Competition is a language that we speak fluently. We constantly do stuff to be the best at what we do in our competitive space. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is how your health as a physical and as an athlete relates to a lot of leadership qualities. So when you think about your sport or even anything in your competitive space, you think with great training, with great nutrition, and with great recovery, you're able to perform at your maximum potential. The same thing is with leadership. With unique experiences and the right preparation, you can become an inspiring leader. With that, give me a second, forgot what I was gonna say. For many of us as for competitors, we practice good habits. Good habits is something that is ingrained to us since the day we step into our competitive space. It's something that we work on day and night. It's beaten into us. And with that, I'd like to talk about how leadership needs that as well. Leadership is like your body. You have to constantly nourish it and take care of it to see the improvement in the years to follow. Now I'd like to take a moment to talk about the significance of your lived experience and how that contributes to leadership. I'd like to share two examples, one in my athletic space and then one with my leadership space. So, as mentioned, I'm a soccer player. For those of you who don't know, outside of college soccer, it's a year-round sport. You play 30 plus games a year, you're averaging, 7 to 9 miles, or even more depending on your position. Games are about 90 minutes to 110 minutes depending on the situation. This is something that I've done my entire life. I've been working on it since I was 3 years old. But at some point, my raw ability was only gonna get me so far, and I was gonna hit some sort of obstacle in my life. In my 2012 and 2013 season, I had a small setback, and I feel like a lot of you can relate to this. I used to get the gnarliest leg cramps. Halftime came around, and my legs started to tighten, and I'm like, oh, it's going to be a long one. The rest of the game's going to be tough. 60th, 70th minute came around, and I was acting like I just got bit by a dog. I'm like, stretching, trying to play it off, fix my shin guards. I'm like, I'm good. But I couldn't finish the game out. Every time I passed the ball, I'd cramp. And at first, I didn't think it was much, but then it became a consistent theme in my game. I realized that if I didn't fix this, I wasn't going to be able to get to the next part of my soccer career. I wouldn't be able to reach my full potential. The reason why I say that is because this is when my ego took over. I was like, oh, I'll figure it out on my own. I didn't want to lean on others and try to figure out the solution. I don't remember who told me or how I even came upon this, but I found the key that was going to help me resolve this issue, and that was the banana. Yeah, a banana. This banana was able to replenish my body, but also keep my stomach at ease while I'm running all these miles. This was the thing that was going to get me to the second half of the game to perform at my best. Keep that phrase in mind, second half. I share that because I realized that there was something that was holding me back from reaching my full potential, so I sought out something different to see improvement. Now I'd like to share the second experience, which is more in the leadership space. So from the second half of my high school career, going into my first year and a half here at Cal, my leadership presence wasn't really there. I was like, as long as I'm good, that's all that matters. And I feel like for many of us, there's been a time in our life where we felt like we had all the answers and we were the best at what we did, and that's all that mattered. But relying on status wasn't everything. Even though I knew that I was going to go to a D1 school, I was playing soccer internationally, and I had like that student athlete clout. It wasn't enough to be a leader. It wasn't enough to be a good teammate. It wasn't enough to be a good friend or a good peer. I realized that there was something more in me. This is when I stumbled upon the freshman and sophomore seminar course, led by my instructors, Dr. Kazar Sodute and Tari Glenn. This is a class where it helps young student athletes really explore what it means to be a scholar athlete. It helps them explore majors, to figure out their path later down the line in college. And with that, I realized there was something that I haven't tapped into. There was more to me. And they saw something in me that I didn't really recognize yet, but I was, alluding to. And that was the next step, which was becoming a peer advisor. And for those of you who don't know what a peer advisor is, it's pretty much a person who aids the instructor in facilitating the course, but also providing resources and being there for younger student athletes to guide them to become the scholar athletes that they are soon to be. And the reason why I bring this up is because this was my banana. This was my next supplement to get me to the second half of my college career with leadership. I was given perspective, I was given better communication skills, and I was given a new sense of responsibility. A responsibility that I was no longer only looking after myself, but I was looking after my peers and helping them become better student athletes or scholar athletes. Now that I've shared a little bit of the significance of a lived experience, I think it's important to talk about how leadership is something you don't have to do alone. Think about your sport. Think about your competitive space. You can believe that you were born with the ability to do what you did, but I bet you that there was a time in your life where you picked up a trick from someone. So now, I want you guys to take a moment and think about a recipe you've picked up, a training regimen or stretching regimen that you've picked up from someone. Some sort of advice. Now, by a quick show of hands, who has a pregame meal or a pregame meal or something that they eat before a workout that makes them feel their best? By a quick show of hands. Yes. What is your name and in a few words? Can you give me an example?
My name is Colin. For breakfast, I have a bag of peanut butter, and then for lunch, I eat a gravy sandwich.
All right. And why do you eat that? Makes you feel good. Okay. Anyone else? One more example. Anyone? Yes.
Yeah, Matthew. I eat chicken and rice before every game.
And why do you eat that?
It's what makes me feel confident.
Makes you feel confident. Well, I was hoping that you guys would give me, more insight on exactly how it makes you feel. But I would say that you too have different types of things to eat or to consume before a game to feel your best. And that's a perfect example of leadership. Everyone has their different way of going about their leadership. Sometimes you need that heroic individual who's going to get in your face, who's going to be pushing you, lifting your team up. You know, they're almost like the center of attention. They're lifting you up, more of that raw kind of feeling. But sometimes you don't need to be that. Sometimes they're the leader that's going to put their arm around you, talk to you on the side, maybe even send you a text, or talk to you just in another space. But the most important thing is to notice that and realize that it's okay to engage in different types of leadership. You don't have to stick to one. And, sorry, give me a second. So as you continue to look at your leadership, it should be a matter of how can I grow, how can I improve? So if there's one thing I hope that you can take away from this today is that leadership is not a final destination. It's something that you have to constantly pursue. You have to pursue your own formula of success to become better. And with that, think about how you prepare for your sport, how you prepare in your competitive space every day. Think about the leaders that you've worked with in your life, and think about the leader that you needed. And ask yourself, how will I nourish my leadership? In the meantime, I'll ask myself, what will my leadership look like tomorrow? Thank you for listening. Thank you for engaging. Go Bears.
Wow, thank you, Christian. Pretty amazing stuff. I had the pleasure of working with Christian in the first year class. He was our only returning peer advisor this past year, and not only was he supporting the first years, but he was also usually the first one we looked at for support when we had questions or we needed, I see Kasser and Tarek shaking their head. He was like the leader of the peer leaders. It's just amazing. So Christian, thank you. Awesome story. I love that.